You are listening to the James Carpenter Podcast Show, episode number 9. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. I hope you're having a wonderful week because today I'm going to introduce you to your limbic system, which is a part of your brain, and it plays a very important role because this is where all feelings and emotions reside. And you can think of it this way, where it's the house of feelings, so to speak. And I also want to introduce you to this concept of emotional management that you can achieve by becoming the master of your emotions. You want to learn how to better manage your emotions so that you can better become the person you want to be, whether that's to achieve greatness, if you want to achieve greatness, or to simply feel better about yourself. And at the very least, to understand why you do and feel and have the thoughts you do. Now, you're also going to learn how to be more aware and understanding of why you do and say what you do, which is that can almost instantly bring more peace into your life. So here we go. Now, I want you to imagine this scenario in your mind where we have a classroom of, whether it's third, fourth, fifth graders, and it's a full room and the teacher has left. So these little children are unsupervised, and you can imagine what's going on in there. It's going to be loud and rambunctious. Some of the kids are going to be screaming louder than the others. Now, others are going to be running and chasing. And then there are going to be some kids just sitting there, more watching, observing the others and looking around. And then imagine the teacher walking into this as she attempts to establish order. I want you to imagine that this is what's happening in your brain anytime it's left unsupervised. You can feel anxious or stressed, overwhelmed, even fearful sometimes. And it can feel like you're not in control. But there's good news because I'm going to share with you my top 6 ways to take back control of your emotions that will allow you and enable you to be that teacher who effectively establishes order in the classroom. Now, your emotions and feelings sometimes get out of control, or it can feel that they do. And maybe one emotion is dominant over the others. And I'm going to take you through some exercises today that will hopefully allow you to identify what that dominant feeling or thought is. Now, one way in which the limbic system has been conceptualized in the science community is as the feeling and reacting side of the brain. And it's attached next to your thinking brain or your prefrontal cortex. Now, remember, the prefrontal cortex is where all the thoughts are created. And being positioned like this, our limbic system is actually under control of our thinking brain because our thoughts create our feelings and our feelings create our behaviors or actions, or sometimes it's inaction depending on the feeling. And I don't believe that we've been sufficiently taught how to manage or to cope with our emotions. And here's the first exercise I want to take you through is I want you to think about something happening in your life right now, today even, something pressing on your mind, uh, things causing life right now to be unpleasant. Maybe it's causing you some anxiety or stress, making you feel overwhelmed, or you feel like something bad will happen, or maybe it's just waiting around the corner. Have in your mind what that thing is. And then, for instance, whether you meet with clients all day or you race from meeting to meeting, or maybe you're a stay at home mom with or without children, what is that one thing pressing on you? And it's really interesting as you start to try to isolate what that emotion is, or maybe it's the thought. And here's some examples. Why did I say that? Or I should have said this instead. What is that person thinking of me? Or did I make a good enough impression? Am I saving enough? And after finding out what's weighing on your mind, I want you to start exploring this next question is what's the impact of this emotion on you? Is the feeling you're having causing any type of longer term effects, such as loss of sleep or making you feel constantly on edge? Are you sensing any form of exhaustion physically, emotionally, or mentally? Because I want to say that it can sometimes feel challenging to go through this exercise to really nail down that dominant feeling or thought causing you this sense of pain. And I want to offer you this alternative piece of insight with our feelings and emotions. And it's this: what if our feelings are signals to us? And you can think of it like much like how our bodies give us hunger pain as a way to indicate we need to eat. It's your stomach makes noises, you get headaches, or you feel physically weak. Like those are all signals and indicators that you need to eat. Or the opposite, when you feel full, food loses its appeal. We start to feel a little overstuffed or maybe even sick, meaning we should stop eating. We should put the fork down. Now, these sensation or signals, if we let them go unchecked or allowed to press on without any alleviation, we start to seek after a fix. We start to look for ways to quiet or to drown out all the noises in our head. It's the chit chat that's going on or the pain that we're experiencing. Now, the purpose isn't to provide a distraction because the world offers plenty of distractions that you don't need anything more from me. But much like food, how it oftentimes serves as a distraction from the moment, from feeling bored or alone, or maybe it's to amplify a situation. It's to get us through to the next moment. Now, a distraction won't solve the problem. It'll temporarily numb you and suppress those feelings, but it's only for a moment. But doing so will only generate that feeling to come back in a stronger sense with greater force. And if left undealt with, it can oftentimes lead to serious complications. Maybe that's medications, antidepressant, or any anxiety, or we find ourselves seeking an escape more often, escaping from what we're feeling. Now, let me describe the cycle that you may be experiencing that so many of you are going through. So, you wake up in the morning, you may feel rested and ready for the day, or maybe you feel this way after your morning fix of your cup of joe or whatever your go to caffeine is. My preference is the Rockstar Recovery Energy drink. But you get started in the day and then something happens. Maybe it's the kids are late to school or they refuse to brush their teeth. There's more traffic than usual. Or maybe it's you've been given more assignments at work unexpectedly. Or heck, let's say you get a promotion and it's the best day ever. Here's the cycle though, is that there's you and then there's a situation that you're in that you can fill in here. And then there's a thought that's created based on your interpretation of that situation. You then feel something. Maybe it's annoyance, frustration, overwhelmed, worried, regret, embarrassed. And at the end of the day, you're telling yourself, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel bad. Therefore, I'm going to seek a distraction. And that oftentimes includes food, alcohol, shopping, or maybe it's you procrastinate, or it's binging on TV or other social media, or it could be sex and drugs, because all these distractions are your way of getting a dopamine hit in the brain. It's that quick pick me up, if you will, because these are all methods to buffer or avoid or to suppress the real feeling you're having, because it's preventing you from living your life. All of which equates to overeating, over drinking, overspending, or the like. Now, for some of you, this may be a totally acceptable way to live. But for the rest of us, I want to add my 2 cents, coming from a place where food was my go to from feeling anything negative. Now, I've personally made the makers of Oreos very rich people. And I'm here to tell you that after having been on that side of life and seeing what more life has to offer, I am all in on the feeling of things to experience a better life. Life is fun. And this is all a part of my journey and the journey of my clients. Now, on a quick side note, the opposite can totally be true. You can feel pleased or appreciated, inspired, happy, which it's ironic that the same activities are there for those good feelings. We eat when we're happy, or we drink or go shopping. Isn't that interesting? But for our intent, the purpose is to identify what thought is causing the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm. John Fredrickson, in his book, The Lies We Tell Ourselves, offers this observation that the degree of our suffering equals our distance from reality. Rather than end our suffering by running toward the truth, we run farther away from it through food, work, alcohol, drugs, and sex. What if mistakenly considered addictions, they merely point to the true addiction? What if we are addicted to not being here because we don't want to feel what we're feeling? End quote. So, to allow you the opportunity to know what's happening in your mind and to embrace these signals, I want to offer some ways to help you quiet your limbic system. To paraphrase one of the greatest philosophers of our time, Winnie the Pooh, when asked how to spell a certain emotion, he says, you don't spell it, you feel it. So here we go. My 6 ways to achieve emotional management. Number 1, the thought download. Now, this is usually done when you're by yourself, and you got to be good company to yourself. You got to talk nicely to yourself with your inner voice. Quietness is a virtue because this is allowing yourself to go in and examine your thoughts because it can prove most liberating. And it's such an effective technique. Now, here's what you do. You simply get a pen and paper and you write down all the thoughts and emotions you're feeling. It doesn't have to be edited, and you just free form write it out. And you can just take a few minutes and just start writing down what comes to mind. And if you need help, you can start by writing down some of the thoughts that you're having about yourself, or maybe you can review your day and think about the moments that made you feel happy or sad or annoyed, or maybe there are some good parts of the day. And after you've spent several minutes on this exercise, then read through the notes and start to identify if it's a positive or negative thought or feeling. And then ask yourself, how do you feel about this list? Here's the best part. You get to now decide how you want to show up from this moment. And here's a simple way to do that. Answer the following question. What do I want others to know about me? And here are some responses I hear from my clients. I do anything for anyone. I'm dependable. I work hard. I'm acceptable of others. I show genuine concern for other people. I'm kind, compassionate, and loving. I'm fun to be around. So now it's your turn. Make a list, then go out and live it. Number 2, music. Music can have a profound impact on our psyche because it can provoke and stir up many emotions and feelings. Like the other day when I was sitting at a traffic light and I glanced over at the car next to me and I saw these young teenage girls belting out to the song on the radio. The best part, the mom was also singing along. And you couldn't help but smile and somewhat chuckle at this sight because music calms even the wildest beasts. Think about it. It allows us to listen and to focus in on the lyrics. And as we do so, we start to feel the vibrations in our body, all of which quiets our inner voice to concentrate on the music. So take notice the next time you listen to a song on the radio or your iTunes or Pandora. Now, with each of these, you have a great opportunity to intentionally focus your thoughts and energies on what you want next. This is when you've quieted the classroom, so to speak. Now, if you don't take control, it's as though you're leaving a classroom of kids unattended, hoping they'll behave themselves. So don't leave it up to hope. You get to take ownership of what you think and how you feel and what you do. Number 3, deep breathing. Breathing can have amazing effects on quieting the noises in your body. Imagine the student sitting in her car before a big exam. She feels anxious and nervous, so she takes several deep breaths, closes her eyes, places her hands on her lap, and focuses on the feeling of the weight of her hands on her legs. Again, this mindful meditation captures your thoughts and emotions into the present moment, allowing you to feel more relaxed and in control. Number 4, yoga or other exercises. Now, all of these have shown similar effects and impacts, each enabling you to target the movement and the routine. Number 5, going for a walk. Fresh air has been known to clear your mind to think more clearly. Then you can isolate those thoughts. Even if it's during a quick lunch break, coming back to a task afterwards can get you feeling re-energized. Number 6, taking action. Doing something that will move you closer to a desired goal. Now, a common feeling could be simply being scared because you're doing uncomfortable things. Now, you're going to new places, meeting new people, you're challenging your known boundaries. And that can oftentimes be scary because your brain wants to keep you safe. So it's on high alert, scanning for possible dangers. And you can be afraid and do it anyway, meaning taking action into your fear to create an experience you currently don't have. But then once that happens, you'll reach a new level, a new plateau where you won't know everything. And honestly, that's life. That's part of being human. And the opposite is completely true as well. You could sit and literally do nothing all day, but what fun is that? And there you have it. My 6 ways to quiet your limbic system so that you can achieve emotional management, to better manage your emotions so that you can better become the person you want to be. Now, obviously, this isn't a comprehensive list. There are many more ways you could find to help you, but remember, the point is to allow and embrace the feelings because you're the supervisor. You get to give authority or to denounce a thought or feeling. And let us remember the fable of the monkey and the peas told by Leo Tolstoy from the early 19th century. There was a monkey, and he was carrying 2 handfuls of peas. One little pea dropped out. He tried to pick it up and spilt 20. He tried to pick up the 20 and then spilt them all. Then he lost his temper, scattered the peas in all directions, and ran away. All right, that's what I have for you today. Have a great rest of your day. Until next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if you like this week's podcast, then you should check out my 6-week online weight loss program, where we'll focus on your hormones to get you to your natural weight and look at what's happening in your life and why food is just a distraction that's keeping you from loving your life. Simply schedule a mini call with me at eliteweightsolutions.com/join-me.